Hi, I'm Frank Kanshi. This is Thai PBS World. In our channel, there's a very significant program called The Ambassador. We talk to key figures in diplomacy to understand the regional strategies and tactics in ASEAN and above the world. Joining me now is Mrs. Millicent Cruz Paredes, is the ambassador of the Republic of the Philippines to Thailand. Great to have you on the show, Her Excellency.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, pretty good to have you. At the beginning, of course, we would like to understand the issues in ASEAN. Could you please give us a sense about the imminent issues and risks, maybe in ASEAN? What's your insights?
Of course, we just finished the ASEAN Summit in Indonesia.
Yep.
And we are happy to assume the chairmanship in 2026.
Oh,
yes.
right.
We have, the last time we chaired was in 2017. And I was in the capital. I was in Manila at that time, so I was very much involved when we chaired. And of course, we certainly look forward to contributing again to the enhancement and enrichment of ASEAN. We are one of the 5 original members, just like Thailand. And we certainly look forward to putting direct contribution to ASEAN, especially with current issues. Of course, you know, Myanmar, South China Sea, and we don't not only focus on security, of course, we also look at the cultural, technical cooperation. So there's a lot of facets of cooperation within ASEAN, and we just, ASEAN is very close. Even here in Bangkok, among the ASEAN ambassadors, I'm the only lady ambassador, but very soon there's going to be another lady ambassador. So in all aspects, ASEAN countries are close, and we know that whatever challenges we have right now, it's just a matter of putting our heads together and coming up with a solution, hopefully in the near future.
Hopefully in the near future, as what you said, by 2026 is the chairmanship for the Philippines. And great to see, significant to see woman power in diplomacy too, as what you said. You're one of the female ambassador in ASEAN, of course. You talk about Myanmar, you talk about South China Sea issue. Of course, South China Sea is really close to Philippines. It's very important for strategic facade and the tactics for the Philippines and for ASEAN too. It's not just for the Philippines. So you mentioned about earlier this month in Jakarta, we had the 43rd ASEAN Summit there. Of course, all eyes on South China Sea. Philippines was one of the key role. And right now we can see, of course, China, they hand out a new map that, of course, the map covered so much territorial area in the Philippines, in Vietnam, in Indonesia. What's your sense from the government, from President Marcos Jr.? I could read his quote here, quote, "As long as we keep to the right path, no matter what storm may come, China-ASEAN cooperation will be as firm as ever." But he also talked about we must emphasize that practical cooperation which enable environment of regional peace and security.
Absolutely. You know, we've always said that the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea is not the sum total of the bilateral relations between the Philippines and China. It's just one part, very challenging part. But, you know, for the Philippines, West Philippine Sea, South China Sea is a very important aspect. It is a major shipping hub. It is also a source of biodiversity and energy, very rich source. And it is also an anchor of the blue economy for the future. So for the Philippines, we are profoundly committed to a rules-based international maritime order that is anchored on two things. First is the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Seas, or UNCLOS. And the second is a 2016 arbitration award on the South China Sea. And for us, the arbitral award is already part of international law. We are certainly happy that it's gaining more support from more members of the international community because, as the President said, if we are going to remain committed to sharing the responsibility of being stewards of the sea, then that's very important. And of course, we also would like to affirm that area as a sea of peace, stability, and prosperity for all.
Yeah, as what you said, a rule-based world order. This is a very important line here. As an international organization, of course, support in the West Philippine Sea or South China Sea has the prosperity and stability to grow the economic growth, of course, in ASEAN and above the world, because it's not just links to ASEAN, it links to the world economy too. Back to Thailand.
Okay.
Why Thailand is important with the Philippines in terms of economy? Of course, I know the business connection here between Thailand and the Philippines is strong.
Yes.
And how about geopolitics too?
Politics, okay. So, as you said, Philippines and Thailand, we are very close to each other. We, as I mentioned earlier, we are original members of the ASEAN 5. We look very much alike. We have the same weather. We have the same atmosphere. We have the, if I do not speak, I'm always mistaken for Thai.
Yes, because
And-
your smile, I think Thai smile and Philippine
Thai
smile too.
That's right. We have both warm, welcoming people.
Yeah.
We are very much attuned to one another. As a matter of fact, the next year, 2024, we will be celebrating our milestone 75th anniversary of Philippines-Thailand bilateral relations, and we are in close coordination right now for several commemoration activities that we'd like to do. So we certainly look forward to that. And just to mention, Philippine Independence Day is on 12th of June, and 2 days after, 14th of June, is our bilateral, the anniversary of our bilateral relations. June 14, which also coincides as the World Blood Donors Day. So since I arrived here, I've always advocated for Filipinos to donate blood to the Thai Red Cross, because at the time when I arrived in November 2020, that was the height of pandemic, and there was always this call for blood donation. So I thought, this is a good way of the Philippines sharing with Thailand and showing our support. We have a lot of Filipinos here, close to around 28,000, 70% of which are English teachers. And we certainly are happy to contribute to the overall development of Thailand. We have always, for myself, every time I go to the provinces and meet with governors, I always thank the governors for taking care of our Philippine nationals all over Thailand. And I always take pride in what they contribute to Thailand.
Right.
And on a personal, you asked about politics.
Yes.
Okay. So I know that Thailand has a new government. Of course, Philippines continue to support Thailand. We look forward to working closely with the new government, and I just want the very best. Just want to convey the very best wishes to Thailand from the people of the Philippines. And,
we'll be back with the topic of personal story later
all right,
on. But for the
stories.
geopolitics side, maybe I want to push you a little bit. How about the Myanmar issues? Is there any? What's the Philippines government's policies here?
Okay.
And maybe connection with Thailand too, because of course Myanmar just next to.
The Philippines remains committed to the 5-point consensus that all ASEAN leaders agreed to. We acknowledge the effort and the contribution of past ASEAN chairs, the last one being Indonesia. I have very close relations with the ambassador of Indonesia here in Bangkok, and he has always shared with us that they have done quiet diplomacy in terms of looking for a solution to the Myanmar challenge. Of course, I have, as a junior officer, worked in the ASEAN office of the Philippines, and at that time, when all three, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, were being admitted into ASEAN, I was a junior officer. So I have like a personal sense about what's happening within ASEAN, and really, I really hope that very soon we'll be able to find a solution to this challenge. Of course, I also acknowledge the approach of Thailand with respect to Myanmar, because it shares very long border with Myanmar. And I know that Thailand is facing very practical and very tangible challenges. And I respect how they approach this challenge. But at the same time, I also look to all countries supporting ASEAN centrality and ASEAN unity in approaching this challenge.
Yeah.
So again, we uphold the 5-point consensus that was agreed on by our leaders some time ago.
Yeah, very positive comment there, because of course the 5-point consensus in ASEAN is as what you said, quote again, rule-based regulation for ASEAN members to solve regional crisis. Of course, as what you said, Thailand shared thousands of kilometers with Myanmar, and humanitarian corridor too. That's the point. Yes. Yeah, I think of course in this period people are talking about election in Thailand. People talking about, of course, election in the Philippines, in the region too. I want to get your sense about how the Philippines politics work in terms of election in the democratic process too. That's very important for our audience, not just for Thai and for the regional audience too. How the transformation of Philippines politics in a good way, of course.
Okay, first, of course, I'd like to congratulate the new government that just assumed, and congratulate Thailand for the elections that happened earlier this year. For the Philippines, we are fully committed to democratic processes, including elections. That is why we have brought elections to the Philippines outside of our country. You know, we have a big diaspora, and we would want overseas Filipinos to continue to be involved in nation building, and therefore we passed a law that allowed overseas Filipino to exercise their right to choose our national leaders. And so we had our elections last May of 2022.
Yep.
And our system directly elects our leader. So we held our overseas voting here in Thailand. And we are happy that our elections was conducted peacefully, successfully. I think this democratic processes that we have hopefully contribute to the overall political stability in our region, not only in the region, but outside of our region.
Great to have you sense about the democratic process in the Philippines. It's very important, not just in the region, above the world, as what you said.
Yeah.
And you said, your government set up the system for overseas Filipinos to vote for their leaders, vote who they preferred in the system. It's very important. Next, of course, we're going to get into soft questions here. You've been here almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not a long time, but it's long already. What's your observation about Thailand as a Philippine citizen?
Yes. So I arrived here in the middle of pandemic, such that when I arrived here, it was only my then 11-year-old daughter and myself in the whole of Philippine Airlines. And it's a surreal experience, but at the same time, there was fear because at that time we don't really know what the virus was all about. It was almost like a death sentence to have the virus, and there was so much travel restrictions. When I arrived here, I had to quarantine for 14 days.
In the hotel?
In the hotel. Oh. Nothing can come in and nothing can come out. Even documents that I could sign, there was nothing. So it really was a challenge, but I was very much impressed at how Thailand was able to handle the challenge at that time. I'm just glad that we're out of that and we're now coming back to how it was prior to the pandemic. But of course, we still a lot of several aspects of our life still seem to be recovering from the pandemic, especially in terms of the economy, global economy. In terms of Philippines and Thailand, as I said, we have a lot of things in common. I'm very much impressed at how Thailand progressed over the years. As a junior officer, I frequented Thailand, but only for short visits. But it's really different to when you live here. Then it's the progress and how Thailand has developed, very impressive. So of course we look forward to still enhancing our bilateral relations and learn from each other.
Yes, pretty good point there. Cooperation is the key.
Cooperation.
And back to your personal story there, of course, I was in quarantine too for 14 days when I came to Thailand 2020. That's a dire situation for us, but of course we get through, and this is after pandemic, Thailand and Philippines still in the recovery progress. So it's important for both countries to cooperate together. Yes. Anything to add?
Well, we continue to cooperate bilaterally within ASEAN, within APEC. Of course, congratulations to Thailand for a very successful APEC hosting last year. So these are the available platforms where we could continue to cooperate and help each other recover from that shock that the pandemic brought to the world.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good cooperation there. Last question, I think maybe a tease here. Any exciting project between Thailand and the Philippines in the near future, or is there any event that we could be looking forward to seeing between?
Well, projects. Well, as I said, we have our 70th anniversary next year. We are looking at several projects. Of course, we also, I just want to mention also that the last state visits we had between us have been decades ago. In 1963, just to show how close our two countries are, in 1963 was when King Bhumibol and the Queen Sirikit visited the Philippines for a state visit, and the reciprocal state visit from the Philippines to Thailand for our then President Ferdinand Marcos and First Lady Imelda Marcos happened in 1968. So it's very auspicious now that the sons are our current leaders for both the Philippines and Thailand. So that is one aspect that we could look into the future.
Yes.
And then, of course, people to people. I just want to share a very personal story in terms of people to people. In the 1970s, late 70s and early 80s, when I was a little girl, my late father was a professor of engineering at the University of the Philippines. And my late mother was a medical doctor also at the University of the Philippines. And then my father one day introduced to us, to our family, a Thai student, his Thai student. His name is Mu. And then this Thai student became very close to us. He became like a brother, an older brother to me, brother to us siblings. And he called my parents the way we call them. And then he would join us in family gatherings, family occasions. And then he met another Thai student also studying in the Philippines, at the University of the Philippines. And then he introduced her to us. And then after their study, they returned to Thailand to marry. And over the years, we continue to be in touch.
Right.
Right now, they are now retired. They come to Bangkok once in a while to visit me. I have visited them twice in Udantani. And we continue to be in touch. So I just want to say that as a little girl, I already had a loving family relationship with the Thai people. And I think that is something I am using right now as the ambassador of the Philippines to the Kingdom of Thailand. That personal relations I had with Thai people very early on in my life. So it's helping me right now.
Yes, it symbolizes the long-lasting relationship between Thailand and the Philippines.
Absolutely.
And from the personal scale too, you have very good friend, good family member in Thailand already, in Udon.
That's right.
Very good story here. Thank you for your insights today, Ambassador. Ambassador Millicent Cruz Paredes from the Republic of the Philippines, the Ambassador of the Republic of the Philippines to Thailand. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat.
ขอบคุณค่ะ